Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Well, the fourth straight loss by the New York Knicks. And now we return home so we can play the New Orleans Pelicans. And ladies and gentlemen, I know we all hoped that we were going to see something different tonight in respects to Marcus Morris and Julius Randle not being there. And maybe from the beginning you saw, I saw a little bit more ball movement and man movement. But we've seen them start games that way, and then it leveled right out to the same thing, and especially on the defensive end. What are we going to do, folks? We got a lot to talk about, man. Let's go ahead and let's do it. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, and you can forget about that, what you just saw on the screen. This is Simeon Russell, and we watched the Knicks tonight take on the Utah Jazz. You see right here from the beginning, R.J. Barrett goes to the cup. He lays one in, and we all hoped with Marcus Morris and Julius Randle being out that R.J. Barrett was going to be able to take the game over or really show us that he can be the guy. Wasn't exactly the case as Donovan Mitchell knocks down a three, ladies and gentlemen. Donovan Mitchell, you all know who Donovan Mitchell is. And I've seen guys all over Twitter complaining and crying that the Knicks don't have Donovan Mitchell. Can we get past it? We got to get past it, ladies and gentlemen. Got to get past it. Bogdanovich knocks down a three. We talked about that guy in the game preview. Just knowing that we got to be on him. Elfrid Payton, he battles for a putback there. It's 15-12 Utah. In the beginning of the game, ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks were trying to stick around. They were trying to fight. Got to give it to them. They were trying to fight. One more time. Just a little soft defense in the paint. Bogdanovich knocks down another one. Soft defense in the paint. And it was like that all night long. These guys got whatever they want in the paint. Say what you want. Say what you will. We missed having a couple of big bodies down there in the paint that can bang and bruise around a little bit. Another dunk in the paint by Rudy Gobert. He had 16 points, 13 rebounds, 16 rebounds tonight. Let me make sure I get that right. As you see the Utah Jazz right from the get-go. Well, it was kind of tight, a little bit tight, but then here they go. Just in the paint all night long, ladies and gentlemen. That's bad news bears right there. That's terrible. That's not good. It's not good. Then, from three, bang. Hey, who we blaming this one on, ladies and gentlemen? Who we blaming these open three-pointers on now? Only the guys that's on the floor. As Bogdanovich knocks down that one, the Utah Jazz, again in the paint, slips through three defenders. Jordan Clarkson through three defenders and scores that one. Come on, that's bad news right there. Frank Ntilikina, he's pushing the ball up the floor, takes it to the cup. Nice move by Frank Ntilikina. Frank Ntilikina had a nice night tonight. I got to give you that. He had a nice night tonight. And then Emmanuel Mudiay had himself a night. His revenge game, I guess, for Emmanuel Mudiay. He had a pretty good game. Frank Ntilikina pulls it up from the elbow, knocks it down. Frank Ntilikina was in rhythm. I'll give him that. The Knicks trying to stay close. It's 33-25. R.J. Barrett pulls up. Nice pull up. Bang. 33-27. 6-point game. Now it's a 7-point game. 10 minutes into the second quarter. That guy, he knocks it down. Bang. You know who that is? Donovan Mitchell, the spider. He knocks it down. What do you expect from him? But they lived in the paint all night long, ladies and gentlemen. As you see Donovan Mitchell take another one to the cup, 46-40. Jordan Clarkson out on the perimeter. He pulls it up. Bang. He knocks it down. Jordan Clarkson had 11 points on the night. It's 1 for 6 for three-pointers from three. 5 for 13 from the field. And then that guy right there, Bogdanovich, he kicks it out to, guess who? Emmanuel Mudiay. Does a nice little fake crossover, pulls it back, knocks it down. Emmanuel Mudiay kicks it back out there. Bang. Joe Ingles. Ingles had 11 points. Emmanuel Mudiay had 20 points on the night. He also had 3 rebounds and 4 assists to Emmanuel Mudiay. Utah Jazz up 59-44. As you see, once again, in the paint, the Utah Jazz scores 62-44 now. And, the game, at this point, the game is just out of hand as Rudy Gobert gets another dunk in the paint. 16 points, 16 rebounds for Rudy Gobert, and 4 assists. He also had 1 block shot. The Knicks barely got anything going, as you see Elfrid Payton get one to go there. Elfrid Payton had 13 points tonight. No assist. 6 for 13 from the field. 65-48. 70-51 as the Knicks are down 19 at the half, ladies and gentlemen. They were down 19 at the half. Manny Omoudie makes it 72. The Knicks are going to come back and get a bucket to end the half. As R.J. Barrett pulls back and knocks down the jump shot. R.J. Barrett was 3 for 10 from the field. He had 10 points and 2 rebounds on the night. Third quarter, 74-53. And again, the Utah Jazz are knocking down threes from everywhere. It seemed like they were more than 37%, but they hit them from a 37% clip tonight. But they lived in the paint all night long. This is ridiculous defense right here. And lucky for us that the Utah Jazz had some mercy in the fourth quarter, because they could have ran this thing up if they really wanted to. They really could have ran it up. It's 82-57. The Knicks down by 25. Garbage time, basically since the end of the second quarter, the Knicks were in garbage time. And the Utah Jazz, again, in the paint. Moutier, fadeaway jump shot. Again, he had 20 points. Reggie Bullock, the ball at the top of the key, screen from Taj Gibson. He pulls up. Reggie Bullock had 9 points. He was 4 for 9 from the field. Obviously, he's not the guy that's going to fill in for Marcus Morris. Because you know what Marcus Morris is going to give you. Right? You already know that. Mitchell Robinson with the ball at the top of the key. He finds R.J. Barrett with the reverse. He misses. Mitchell Robinson gets the putback dunk Mitchell Robinson had on the night. If I can find it, 6 points, 4 rebounds for Mitchell Robinson. We need more than that from Mitchell Robinson. Damian Dotson with the pull-up jump shot. Damian Dotson had 11 points on the night. But the Utah Jazz basically dominated this game. Spider Mitchell gets another lay-in. They dominated this game. I don't want to say basically from the tip. The Knicks try to, keep it tight a little bit in that second quarter, but not much happening. Frank Ntilikina knocks down a jump shot. Frank Ntilikina on the night had 16 points. He actually led the Knicks in scoring tonight. He was 6 for 10 from the field, 1 for 3 from the three-point line, and 3 for 3 from the stripe. He had 4 rebounds and 3 assists, did Frank Ntilikina. 97-74. And the Utah Jazz are just toying with us at this point, ladies and gentlemen. They're just toying with us, making us look like the amateurs that we are. Frank Ntilikina to the cup, gets another bucket. And look, I know you don't want to keep looking at this. I don't want to keep looking at this. All right, this is bad news. I don't want to keep seeing it. I don't like what I'm looking at. I know you don't like what you're looking at. No sense. You already know what happens in this game, ladies and gentlemen. You already know. I'm going to run down the box score for you, just so, just cuz. Run down the box score. Reggie Bullock, 9 points. Bobby Portis, 13 points and 13 rebounds. He also has 6 assists, did Bobby Portis. 4 points for Taj Gibson. R.J. Barrett had 10 points. He also had 2 rebounds. Elfrid Payton had 13 points. Mitchell Robinson, 6 points, 4 rebounds. He had 1 block shot. Kevin Knox, he had 6 points. He was 2 for 10 from the field. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take that off your screen. You don't want to look at it. I don't want to look at it. Frank Ntilikina, again, he had 16 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Wayne Ellington had 11 points. Damian Dotson had 11 points. Kadeem Allen played 4 minutes and 59 seconds. He had 2 points. Iggy, he had 3 points. And guess what? Alonzo Trier, in a game that was a blowout from the second quarter on, did not play. Did not play. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. It was a blowout since the second quarter. Alonzo Trier didn't play. That doesn't make sense to me. And while I support Mike Miller, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't like some of the things that I seen tonight as far as who played and who didn't play. Frank Ntilikina played 18 minutes. He was one of the best players on the floor for the Knicks, or the best player on the floor for the Knicks tonight. He only played 18 minutes. Didn't understand that. I didn't get that at all. Bogdanovich for the Utah Jazz had 20 points. Royce O'Neal had 8 points. Rudy Gobert had 16 points and 16 rebounds. Joe Ingles had 11 points, 2 for 6 from the three-point line. Donovan Mitchell had 16 points and 6 assists. Jordan Clarkson had 11 points. Emmanuel Mudiay had 20 points. He also had 4 assists and 3 rebounds. Tony Bradley had 12 points. Georges Niang, he had 11 points. This wasn't just not a good night for the Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. Not much you can do about it. Let's take a look at the matchups and some of those scores. If you want to look at it, we'll go. Let's go through the motions and let's do what we got to do. Utah Jazz won it on the glass, 50-41. They also beat us in assists, 29-18. 18 assists for the Knicks on a night when you thought that the ball was going to move more, when you thought that we were getting away from just one guy holding the ball and trying to get shots. You thought maybe we'd have more assists. Even if we lost the game, even if we didn't shoot as well, you thought we'd have more assists. We had 18 assists. We shot about our average, 43.3. Percentage. Our percentage was 43.3% from the field. We shot about our average. 18 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, only 9 turnovers. So we took care of the ball better. The Utah Jazz, like I said, 29 assists, 6 steals, 6 blocks, 7 turnovers. We shot 43.3% from the field, 36% from 3, and we actually made 100% of our free throws on a night when it didn't matter. But we made 100% of them, so I guess we could take that with us. Utah Jazz shot 54.4% from the field, 37.2% from 3, and there was 60.9% from the free throw line. And we lose our 4th straight game to the Utah Jazz, ladies and gentlemen. Our 4th straight game. It is what it is, man. Not much we can do about it. Let me get to my man, Guillermo. Guillermo, give me a chance to get you unmuted. What's up, man?
Yo, man. Yeah, I actually didn't mind this game in regards to the overall scheme of things because we got to see what our young guys are going to do, right? So you got to put them to the fire. Got to test them out, right? And tonight, we just got mollywopped. We couldn't do anything against Gobert on the inside. People want to call the Mudiay a revenge game, but it should be a reflection on Mudiay that you had all that opportunity last year. And, he's had nights where he's put up offensive numbers. But, his defense tonight against us was good. I get, considering we didn't have, 3, main players, Randall, Morris, and were we missing anybody else? I can't remember. But, when people say revenge game coming from the Knicks,
I think that's just a joke, man.
It's not you. No, it's not. I know. I'm not coming at you. But when people say like, "Oh, Mudiay did it," it'll be the media. I'm not saying you, Sim, but they'll say that, and it's like, well, Mudiay had his chance last year and couldn't assert himself. You know what I mean? And especially on defense. Offense. Remember, nights he put up 20, 25 against the Grizzlies. He had that ridiculous game where he basically carried us in the 4th quarter, but his defense was like terrible. His focus was terrible. So I don't really care about Mudiay. He fits well on the bench. God bless him. Good luck to the rest of his career.
But the thing is this. I don't think he came out to try to have this game against the Knicks. I think it's just circumstance. It happened that way, right? I'm pretty sure he was probably amped up, right? But the thing is this: he's in a place where there's some structure, some stability.
Thank you.
Right?
I was just going to get to that.
All of those things around it, and
thank you.
That's what you need. You know what I'm saying? So he's in that kind of place, and he's still only 23 years old.
Yeah, and the thing about it, Sim, is that, and this is why I got mad at Fizzo from last year. Oh, sorry if you're talking. For some reason, you cut out sometimes. My bad if I cut you off.
Yeah.
Sorry, what you saying?
No, I was saying, and he's still, 23. He's going to be 24 years old in March. So he's in a good place.
Wow.
He's in a good place in his career right now where he can learn from Mike Conley. He can play with Donovan Mitchell. He can play in a system that emphasizes defense, ball movement, and he can go through the ups and downs of a young player and then see where he comes out in the end. You know what I mean? So, I thought when they signed him, I was like, wow, I felt like it was a really, really good place for Moutier, and I think he's going to end up doing well there.
I think that the thing is that it's tough, Sim, because with point guards is almost like if you don't grow up with certain things, it's very hard for a point guard to change his game to be like this elite. And I'm not just talking about score, I'm talking about facilitating, court awareness, especially court awareness. You have to develop that. If you don't develop it young, it's very hard to get, because even when you look at guys like this guy Trey Burke, he came in the league with the Jazz from Michigan, and it's like he evolved more into like I guess a scoring guard. It's very difficult that you get guards who create that court vision later on. So for Moutier, again, he grew up all his life being this oversized, basically an oversized two guard who masquerades as a one guard, comes to the NBA, a lot of hype, and he's basically just a scoring guard. He's not really a point guard. So, yes, like you said, structure, all those things. And this is why I got mad at Fizz, though. A lot of stuff that he should have been doing last year in terms of putting the young guys out there, instructing them, teaching them how to defend, making them play games where basically their focus was play the passing lanes. Are we going to switch on certain players because they, when we switch, these guys can't shoot off the cuff, so you can switch. It's better to switch, or versus you come around the pick because you can't let them space to shoot, stuff like that. And it's like a lot of stuff that we're going through this year is now with the injuries that we have, and Randall. I don't know what the hell's happening with Randall. This is what all the stuff we're doing now that should have been done last year. So I'm happy that a lot of this stuff is being done now. Like, you're gonna see guys get exposed as to, all right, what does he need to work on? Is this guy, should he be here for the long term? Can we build around him? That's how you build an identity. Not, I'm gonna, this is what you need to do with these guys. And so what I saw tonight, I like what Frank did, especially early on. He was very aggressive. He pushed it, push the shot, push for your offense, bro, because we're going to need times where we need you to make that basket because these guys are going to sag off you because they don't trust your shot. So I was very happy with what I saw earlier on. He's one of the only guys who has a plus minus. There's only two guys, him and Ellington, out of all people, had a plus 10 tonight, 16 points.
That's because he was probably playing with Frank most of the time. That's why he got that plus minus.
6 for 10, 1 for 3 for the from the 3-point line. It was, it's whatever. It's not an amazing game, but what we've seen from Frank. Look, Frank it's to the point now when you start losing guys, we're gonna be like, hey, Frank, we're looking at you. We need you to produce. You can't do anything but produce. And relatively speaking, he produced nice. So I'm happy. The guy that we need to talk about, and RJ Barrett also didn't have a great night. He only had 10 points, minus 23, 3 for 10. Even though I texted Sim, I jinxed RJ Barrett because I was texting him, Sim, bro, Barrett's shot looked good. And I guess that was like the first 2 shots he made a game. I was like, it looks nice. And then, of course, he goes 3 for 10 the rest of the night. But he made 4 free throws. So, and people try to kill Barrett, right? I'm telling you guys, go back and watch Barrett's games in college. Barrett is coming a long way in terms of getting that shot down. You have to understand this is why I like RJ Barrett, and this is why I talk about self-starter stuff, man. His form was not good in college. And it wasn't even good coming into the summer league. His form now, at least the upper body, it looks good. Now the timing and when he releases at the peak and that stuff, it's still a little twitchy. It's not that. Trust me, it's a lot more improved. And even his free throw shooting, as Wally keeps saying, the form is there. It's nice, and he made 4 free throws tonight. So trust me, give RJ Barrett a summer. This guy, he has that Kobe, that Jordan disease where it's like his greatness doesn't come from, I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to, it comes from this weird innate thing where he just has to be great. And I'd seen it. I'm not saying that he's going to be great. that's how I feel emotionally. Maybe I'm being too emotional for RJ Barrett, but I'm very optimistic on it.
Listen, RJ Barrett.
I like his development, man. I like where he's going. I'm telling you, watch his shot from college. It's night and day. It's not as bad as Wilson Chandler. When Wilson Chandler used to have that little hitch in his body when he shot the 3, but he's come a long way, man.
Listen,
you gotta talk about Knox, though.
RJ Barrett is going to be fine. I don't know what all these weird people are talking about. You know what I'm saying? If you're talking negative about RJ Barrett and calling him a bust, then I'm calling you weird. Right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. You guys are even for, I know people would talk about Knox, and I say I just want to train for D-Law and stuff. But for RJ Barrett, who's in his first year, and you've seen him have really good games where he's scoring 25 points, shooting 50% from the field. Yeah, see him have bad games. You want to see how these kids adapt. And you're talking about a rookie. You know what I mean? He still has games where he's produced. So I'm not even on RJ Barrett like that. Now, Knox, Sim, we talked about this yesterday. Something's up with Knox, man, because even when he shot, I saw him shoot a three. Maybe it was in the first quarter. He didn't even look confident. He just flung it up there.
Well, I think he's lost some confidence in himself as a player right now, and he's
He
got to get
has
it
to
back.
go to G League, Sim.
You know what I'm saying?
You
He has to get it back. He might have to go to the G League. He has to get it
can't.
back. I think he's lost some confidence in himself as a player. I mean, he
And
has
this
all
is
the
a good thing
talent
about
and ability, but I
sorry.
think he's lost some. I think he's lost some confidence in himself, and that's the worst thing that can happen. That is the worst thing that can happen. A person can lose confidence in their shot. You can lose confidence in your ability to get to the basket. But if you, as long as you have that confidence in yourself as a player overall, you're good. I feel like he's lost some confidence in himself. He's not shooting the ball with confidence. He's not playing with confidence. And maybe going to the G League will help him get some of that confidence back. You know what I'm saying? You know,
And that's a scary thing because I remember one of my favorite players until he did a whole bunch of crap to get traded to the Nets and got a man fired. Was Darren Williams. And I remember Darren Williams, it was him and Chris Paul in terms of who was the best point guard. And Darren Williams was a sure shot. The dude could shoot. He had that little hezzy crossover. And I understand guys, when they get older, they lose. And I guess maybe it's a different thing where it's like you can start to get traded around. But then he went to the Cavaliers, and this dude couldn't shoot anymore. He was shooting off the bench. And so with Knox is that I'm not sure. I think you're getting diminishing returns. But I think with RJ's kind of these guys where it's like, let me just iron it out. Let me play through it. I'm gonna get through. He's one of those guys where the confidence, it may waver, but there's always a floor with him. Like he knows that he's nice, and he just has to work on certain things. And then he gives you a 25-point game. He gives you a close to 30-point game. He plays really good defense. So, but with Knox, and this is why the G League will be beneficial because I think that the G League, a lot of times you see guys, oh, the point guard improves. A point guard, when they say improves, is usually because they're putting up 25, 30 points, right? And that's not necessarily improving. That's just producing more for a point guard. Versus, I think for a guy who's a forward, if he can get his scoring touch, which is his go-to, I think that he could find his way back. Now, again, this team needs to form more of an offense that's suited to him, where he's coming around screens, where he's more in motion, right? Because, and like I said, sometimes with certain players, the weird, what would you call it? The weird, maybe that's not the right word, but the weird inertia of not moving sometimes throws your shot off. Like, it's a weird thing, and it happens with, and to a small extent. Me, I'm a nobody, but sometimes I feel better coming around screens.
You don't have to preface yourself with that, man.
No. I'm just saying because people might think I sound weird. Oh, put it like this. You know who that's a good example for? Even though he became a good shooter anyway early on, and it's not extreme. Is Rip Hamilton. Rip Hamilton was on the Wizards, and he was this go-to guy, blah, blah, and they try to make him. Sometimes he would, like, the shots he was taking, I know he had Jordan, but he's trying to play more off-ball Jordan, off of Jordan, and it wasn't working. But then when he went to the Pistons, right, he looked amazing coming around. And mind you, this guy, yes, I know he killed it at UConn. I'm not saying he wasn't nice or whatever as a go-to scorer, but sometimes when you're just by yourself and then guys are playing off you and it's kind of like in your head you don't have the confidence of shoot versus sometimes when you're actually moving off the ball and then coming around screens again the ball in motion and shooting it feels you're in the motion of things your body I don't know it's a weird thing so I don't know what it is with Knox. I'm not saying that is that in itself but he's having open shots can't make them anymore and
I mean that's that's loss of confidence for the most part. But I want to talk about, and Nate, I'm about to unmute you. All right, so I'm gonna have both of you guys unmuted. I want to talk about Frank Ntilikina, right? Because tonight he had 16 points, played one of his better games, and he only played 18 minutes. Out of the guys on the team that actually played minutes, played significant minutes, he's one of the lowest. All right, I'm not including Kadeem Allen. I'm not including Iggy, right, because they just got bench time minutes. You got Reggie Bullock at 23 minutes, Bobby Portis 28, R.J. Barrett 27, Elfrid Payton 24, Mitchell Robinson 22, Kevin Knox 29, Wayne Ellington 22, Damian Dotson 21, Frank had 18. And Taj Gibson was the only person that had less than him of the guys really getting minutes. He had 11. He played 11 minutes. I don't understand why Frank only had, let me see, how many personal fouls did he have? Frank had 2 personal fouls. Why? Not that it was going to change the game for him. Not that it was going to change the game for the Knicks. Right? In the second quarter, when Frank was in the game, though, they were, they were tight for a little while. Why though?
I don't know, man. I don't want to go conspiracy theory with this stuff, but I'll be really scared if Mills and Perry are dictating that certain guys should get certain minutes. I don't know. I don't know how they feel about Frank, but it just doesn't make sense that a guy that was actually doing well, and he's doing well with the weaknesses that everybody sees. He only gets 60 minutes, but guys like Knox, they're different positions. I understand. Knox got 29, Payne got 24. He just had a kid, so I have no idea, Sim.
I think that
Miller.
I think that Miller's kind of just in his mind more comfortable with Peyton. I told you, Sim, when that Phoenix game where he was coming back on that flight, and I thought that Peyton shouldn't have started. I thought Frank should have started. Because Frank was already practicing, he was already there and all that. And I understand Peyton had a kid, and congratulations and all that. But for somebody to come in just fresh out of the plane and start, I thought that was a big sign to Frank or something, because that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I could see Peyton coming off the bench and Frank starting in that game, but the fact that he started Peyton, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I know it kind of rubbed Frank the wrong way.
Well,
because I'm sure Frank thought he was going to start that game because
I don't know.
Peyton was coming
I don't know if it
Phoenix.
rubbed. I don't know if it didn't really rub me the wrong way, because I feel like, all right, I doubt he missed any practices, right? Whatever, had to go to the hospital, whatever, with his wife. And then you get to the game a little bit later. Just because you don't come to the game with the team, I don't think that means that you don't have to start.
But
if you have different circumstances.
Did they have the kid in Phoenix, or did they have? I don't know. I don't know that.
No, I'm wherever they live is where she had the baby, I guess. But then he flew to the game. I don't feel like that's a reason to say, oh, well, you shouldn't start because you couldn't fly with us. You know what I'm saying?
So you're a coach. So if somebody on your team had a personal issue and made it to the game, you would start them over the other person?
If I have a starter that is starting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they say, hey, coach, I have a job interview. Our game is at 6. We're going to drive from, we're driving from the school. Mm-hmm. And we're gonna get there at 6. We're gonna get there at 5:30. We're gonna get there at 5 o'clock. But he says, or she says, "Hey, coach, I have a job interview, so I'm not gonna ride with the team, but I'm gonna be there on time, ready to play." And she gets there on time, ready to play. Why would I not start her? She just didn't ride with the team. You know what I'm saying? Now I can see if she missed 3 or 4 practices beforehand. Where I have a rule, we have a rule where if you miss the practice before the game, you don't play. You know what I'm saying? But unless there's a significant excuse.
I don't think he made practice.
Practice? Did they even have any practices?
I don't think Peyton made practice before. I'm sure. Don't they usually have like a walkthrough or whatever they call it before the game? Where they run plays and all that stuff usually before the games?
I don't know if they had a legitimate practice. Maybe a walkthrough. I don't know. I felt like it was all right for him to start.
Yeah.
I don't think that Frank probably had an issue with it.
Can I posture something real quick?
Yeah.
It's scary because when you read the article today, and I guess this probably supports my so-called conspiracy theory on Mills and whatever. It's not even a conspiracy theory. But these guys, for the fact that they're talking about, or their article saying that the Knicks are not looking to build assets, but are looking to get ready-made starters. That means that the youth movement, or seeing what guys like Frank can do, maybe Miller is getting the call from upstairs to be like, hey, play the starters and try to get as many wins. Because again, Mills is on the hot seat.
That's not what the article said. That's not what the article said. At least the one that I read from Ian
the article said that they want to trade if they trade for starters.
Right, trade for starters.
What article are you reading? What article did you read? That's not what I read. Okay,
I'll
so
post it.
that's
I'll post it right
Bleacher
now.
Report. What I read comes straight from Ian Begley. I trust Ian Begley. I don't always trust Bleacher Report. All right, what I read comes straight from Ian
But it makes
Begley.
sense because they're trying to trade for starters. If they're going to make a trade, they want to bring a starter back in return because they're giving a starter away. That makes sense. They don't want to just have all young players and draft picks again. Because at some point, you got to have vets on this team that can help
but why?
you win.
But hold on. Why would I
hump.
trade? Why would I trade? Why would I trade for assets when we're not going to win now? When I could pick up assets during the season and still have draft picks and whatever to pick for the draft.
What are the
that just
assets,
doesn't make sense.
though? What are the assets though? Because if they pick up another young player that is a starter, then what's wrong with that?
If I'm trading my second rounder, right? And the Knicks have drafted relatively well in the second round. I mean, we still have to see what Iggy can do, but they've so-called drafted relatively decent the Perry regime outside of the first round, right? For the past 2 years, right? Why would I go and trade that second rounder possibly for another guy on another team when maybe I could get him for cheap? Or maybe unless you're trading player for player. If you're trading like
Ellington
so this is what I'm not sure.
I'm trading him for a first round. I'm not trading for another starter. Like unless it's a star that's like not getting playing time or something like that, like some weird situation where they have a logjam and that one player is not really getting playing time,
or like
and he's
Sim said, maybe
relatively
a young player that hasn't proven himself. Maybe
Okay, so who is that? Because we've had this conversation many times on the show.
But this is the thing. We don't know. But they're having different conversations, right? We don't know who's saying this or that. We don't know that.
I don't trust a guy who's trying to.
But what I'm saying is
possibly poison pill himself to protect himself from getting fired.
Right, I get that. I get that. I understand that, right? I understand that. But let's just take the philosophy of it, right, or the principle of it, right? If you can make a trade where you get a young player that is proven, that to me, and especially if they're on a good contract, and I'm just saying hypothetically, I don't know what any contracts are or what. If you can get a young player that is proven, and you're making that face, but I'm not talking about star level proven. Everything doesn't have to be a star. That's what everybody always considers. Every time, and I'm not just talking about you, but every time anyone talks about making a trade for a foundational piece or a player that can be a starter or a player that can contribute to your team, everyone thinks star mode all the time. And it's not always about that. Sometimes you find pieces that can fit. You know what I'm saying? And if you can find a piece that you like that can fit, that is proven in the NBA, to me, that's better than a second round draft pick that is unproven, that may not make your team. Even though you've drafted well in the past, it doesn't mean that second round pick is going to make your team or be good.
Like if let's say they did trade Morris, let's say if they traded to the Clippers, I mean, you get a guy like Mo Harkless coming back. I mean he's not a stud player, but he's a role player, and he could fit to what the Knicks are trying to do, especially if they want to go the defensive route. Or if they wanted to trade Morris to the Sixers, I would love to get Thibault, because he's a young player who's got a lot of defensive potential, and we need that at the wing position. So, I'd be okay if we traded one of our best players and got a young player who could fit what we're trying to do if we're trying to go the defensive route.
That's fine. Look, all this stuff is very good in theory. I don't disagree with anything you said. But realistically, you're talking about a front office that is very thorny right now. You're talking about a guy who might be trying to insulate himself. And so what I've seen from all sports, what they try to do is that when they know they're on the hot seat and they might be getting fired, they don't sit there and try to develop the guys or they try to insulate themselves by creating a poison pill situation where you lose all the assets. Well, maybe not the first round, but you trade away all these young guys and try to get guys now. And so now the new guy that's coming in, you can't really fire, say, a Mills in theory, because all right, he brought all these guys in. I might as well ride it out because he's brought all these guys in. Let's see what he's doing. That's what I'm saying. I don't disagree with what you and Nate and Sim said whatsoever. A guy like Mo Harkless, a guy who could defend, I think he could hit the three now, something like that. Or I don't know. I know he's a relatively big guy who can defend, and we need athletic bigs who can defend. I take that in a heartbeat for a second round. But knowing where Mills and Perry are right now, I just don't trust it. That's it. It's the
Well, we
reality of
don't.
things.
We don't know. That's
well,
what
see,
we were
that's
talking
that's a
about before the
different
show.
story altogether, though, because I think that James Dolan should have been like, I don't want you guys making any moves. Just stay pat at the trade deadline, and because I may bring in somebody else. I think it should have been like that. Everybody would have went crazy. You know, they didn't make any moves. They didn't trade this person for a draft pick. They didn't trade that person for a draft pick. I would have said, if I was James Dolan, I would have said, don't do anything unless you run it past me. And then I, as James Dolan, would have taken it to an advisor, right? Because James Dolan doesn't know much about making trades and all that kind of stuff. I would have taken him to an advisor, said, what do you think about this? Do you think this is a good move? Right?
Well, wouldn't that undermine Perry in a sense? Because that's what Perry's job is supposed to do, is to make the team better by making moves. It's not really
but what
I'm
saying is, if I was James Dolan, given the situation of Steve Mills and Scott Perry, I would have said, don't do anything without my approval. I need to see it. And then if I'm James Dolan, because I'm not a basketball guy and I'm not a guy that knows how to make deals and salary cap stuff, I take it to an advisor or something like that and say, do you think this is a good thing? The reason why I'm saying that is because then you prevent them from doing exactly what Guillermo was saying, right? Until you get your new regime in.
Yeah,
so what this says to me,
I don't mind that. I mean, we said I don't know anything. I mean, look, all these reports and stuff, we don't know. Yeah. Like, so yes, I agree with you said in theory. It's just, I mean, it's just the Knicks with trades and stuff. Like, I think it's just what's our track record in regards to bringing in, trading for young players and them coming here and doing something. I mean, I know we've been so-called rebuilding for the past 2 years, but it's just, I'd rather have that with a regime that's a clean regime where there's a clear-cut plan, no one's on a hot seat, and it's like, all right, we're doing this to do that. It's just
okay. So my question is this then. So at this point, we know that James Dolan is going to allow them to make moves at the trade deadline. So any idea of them not making moves is out of the question. We kind of know that he's going to allow them to make moves. So what do you want them to do?
I mean,
the type of guys I want them to get,
I mean, just what do you want them to do? Knowing that they're going to make moves, do you want them to just, no, we're only going to make moves to draft picks?
No. Look, if they find really young players and we get them for cheap, right? If you could trade out guys like, because unfortunately, I don't think Trey has a future here for some whatever reason, and there are teams that can use a score off the bench. So if there are guys out there, teams out there that have athletic bigs that can run and defend, and that's something that we need badly, I would trade Trey for something like that, and that's something that you build for the future, right? Like, that's basically your second round draft pick, right? I would still trade Morris for a first rounder, because if Morris says he really wants to be here, and we could do what we were talking about last night with the whole let him go and then resign him as long as he doesn't get waived.
Okay, so
I do that in a heartbeat.
Right. So here's my thing. So here's my thing with Marcus Morris.
I'm actually doing what you said. I'm combining what you said and Nate said, and combine that also with getting rid of guys but trading guys who could possibly get me a first round draft pick.
So here's the thing with Marcus Morris. How do you deal with the contract? Because he's making $15 million. You're not just gonna, I mean, unless the teams that are gonna trade for Marcus Morris, they're not gonna have salary cap space.
You have to take on players.
So you have to take on players. You don't want to take on salary past next year. So how do you deal with that? That is part of the reason why they're probably looking at, okay, let's see if there's starter level players that can help us, and we're confident that this guy's going to help us going in forward. I don't think they're saying that this is a definite. I think it's just, we're looking at it. So when I read it, it says, something worth noting, on the trade deadline, several teams in touch with the Knicks recently came away with the impression that they are not solely focused on acquiring draft picks, expiring contracts, or young players who have struggled on other teams. Those teams say the Knicks have shown interest in acquiring starter-level players who can help the team in the short term and in future seasons.
Well, the problem is that that's what we've been doing for the last 2 years, is taking on players that haven't reached their potential and all that. I mean, it's almost like been like a revolving door.
But what I'm saying, but it says they're not just looking at. It says they're not only looking at those players. It says they are not solely focused on acquiring draft picks, expiring contracts, or young players who have struggled with other teams. They're not just looking at that. They're looking at starter level players.
Well, that makes sense.
But Sim, look at the landscape, right? So, but this is what I'm trying to get. It's like these starter level players. Like maybe the whole chat, the whole show. Maybe we could just try. We could try to come up with some names that when times because it's just who would.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
It's tough. Like we have to start coming with names because maybe that'll add more.
There. He just got released from the Warriors.
Oh, Marquise Chris, the kid from the guy from the Suns.
Just throwing that out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about names later, but it's just look. To me, realistically, man, I just don't trust the regime, man. I just don't. I understand what you're saying, and I understand the context you gave about that stuff, but it just comes overall to just not being sure what these guys.
And here's what I wish Dolan would do is I wish if they're not going to keep this regime or if they're a dead man walking, man, I mean, either do it, get rid of it or something. I mean, don't leave them hanging like that. And if you're going to keep them, then say something. Give them that vote of confidence. So at least as Knicks fans and everybody else in the organization at least knows that there is going to be some kind of stability in the front office. So now all we know is we need to go find a coach or if we're going to re-sign Miller.
Can I ask you something real quick, Sim?
Yeah.
Do you think that Mike Miller's kind of being undermined with some of this? Because it just doesn't make sense that Mike Miller comes in and even when we're winning or, it seems like some of the changes that we saw with the Knicks is become a little bit more inconsistent. And it was probably always going to be that way. But then you look at like tonight with the minutes Frank got. Do you think that he's being undermined by the front office in any way?
I don't know. It's hard to say. This is what I think. I think it could be. Right, I think it could be that they feel like they have a little bit more control because he only has the interim tag on his coach, on his name, right? So when you only have the interim tag on your name, it's like, all right, listen, you're just the interim. This is what I want you to do.
They're watching him like
it could happen that way. Is it? I don't know. It's hard to say. I always felt like I don't know. You can check a couple months back. When we first started talking about David Fizdale being fired, and I was like, I would just keep him and let it ride out through the season. Obviously, I changed my mind because it got bad, and I was like, okay, we got to do something. But at that point, I was like, let's let it ride out through the season because an interim coach, it's almost like that person is a dead man walking for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Because you're dealing with everything that the previous coach put in place. You don't have time to make any changes, really, to truly make any changes.
Yeah, you're screwed either way.
All of the bad habits or any bad habits that you had under that coach is still there. People that may be upset that the coach got fired is still there.
Yeah, you gotta deal
all
with
that kind of stuff is still there. You still got all this junk that you have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? Which makes it makes it tough for an interim head coach. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Sam, I got a question for you.
And then 1 second. And then since you're still the interim, like I said, you're just the interim. Basically, you're just the interim. So I think it makes it tough. And then you're dealing with the roster. You have no say on any input as far as players. With that roster, you had no say. So I think it makes it tough for an interim coach, man. And he's got it tough. Although, you know what I'm saying? Like I thought tonight would have been a good time, he started Bobby Portis. I thought he's going to put Taj Gibson at the 4 and Mitchell Robinson at the 5. I thought that would have been the smart thing to do. He kept Mitchell. He didn't start Mitchell Robinson.
But he saw a bad Mitchell.
Started Bobby Portis. I don't understand. I didn't understand why he started Bobby Portis. I know he started him at the 4 and put
because he wanted scoring. That's why.
Maybe. I mean,
yeah, but this is not a. But this is the thing, right? So when you go into a game like this, the Jazz have a really good system, right? Dribble, drive, pass to Gobert. and facilitate back out to the perimeter shooters and Ingles and whatever. We knew that coming into this game. I just disagree with like I think that this Knicks team would be so much better off if we had a stronger defensive identity versus
Of course.
versus depending on individual players, especially veterans, guys who weren't drafted by this team, guys who, and we're depending on individual guys to put up big numbers or put up scoring numbers to help us versus everybody on the team is playing top-notch defense and you shut down maybe their primary or their secondary or tertiary scorers, and now they're grasping for like that's why I thought the Nets and I thought the Blazers wins were so impressive because we shut down their primary scoring options. I understand Melo went off, but even when Melo was going off, their game plan was so dumb because they were slowing up the game by just dumping it to Melo in the post, and they were still down. And by that time, it was like, all right, you're wasting time with the. So it's just like I think with the Knicks is like, when we say, oh, buy points, blah blah, like I like that lineup of having Mitch and having a guy like Taj, because Taj, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong on Mitch. Taj is a smarter player defensively. Now, is he as able as Mitch? No. But I think that when Taj is out there, he communicates a lot better. I don't know what the screens and stuff are per, when he's in there versus when they're not. But I just don't see Taj. I see Taj just not being able to do certain things physically anymore. But I don't see him beat as much in terms of, backdoor pass. I saw a backdoor pass to, I can't remember who it was. And it was Mitch's guy. And I'm like, how the hell do you miss that? Like, you should have.
No, I get that. I just thought that it would have been it would have worked matchup wise to have Mitchell Robinson start tonight at the center spot.
That's what I've been trying. That's what I told you.
That's what I thought.
That's what I told you before the show, Sim. Is I don't know if Mike Miller has that defensive mindset to do that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the defense has gotten better under Mike Miller, but like you said, he might have started them for offense. A lot of coaches, they try to balance the offense and defense too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And playing Frank Moore,
so that you can score.
Frank Moore against Donovan Mitchell makes more sense than putting Elfrid Payton out there to get eaten up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the thinking was behind Frank Ntilikina not playing more tonight. Elfrid Payton. I mean, Elfrid Payton, he was a minus 33. You could take that for what it's worth. I don't put a lot of stock.
Killing him, bro.
Listen, I don't put a lot of stock in the plus minus. I just don't. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Because it all depends on who you're playing with.
I just think that Frank is a higher IQ defensive player, and I think that he has the body to play better defense because of his size and length. Peyton's a good player. I don't disregard Peyton at all. I just think that if you're talking defense and defensive IQ, Frank is the one to be out there, not Peyton.
He might be, but you also got on most nights Frank doesn't do what Elfrid Payton can do on the offensive side either.
That's
as far as
have his struggles.
As far as trying to be the commander out there, Frank hasn't developed that yet. Hopefully he will. You know what I mean? Still, Frank should have been on the floor a lot more. I don't think it would have changed anything, but he should have been on the floor a lot more. We'll see. Hopefully he gets asked that question in the post-game interview. Let me get you a phone call, all right? I'll come back.
Okay, all right.
Caller, you on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
Hey, what's up, Tim?
I'm good, man. How you feeling?
I'm all right.
So what you got for me, man? Talk to me.
What are we talking about? State of the team?
The team, the game, talking about the game, things that happened during the game, why certain people played, didn't play.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if there's not too much strategy about the game to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much to talk about with this game. I mean, Morris and Randall are out. We're not going to win. Not against Utah.
Listen, according to a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, when Morris and Randall are there, they dominate the ball. They don't give anybody else a chance to shoot. They don't give anybody else a chance to play. And, that bogs down the offense. Julius Randle can't play defense. If he wasn't in the lineup, we'd be a much better defensive team and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. So, that's what I hear from a lot of people. I hear that from not everybody, but I hear that from a lot of people. So, if this was a night, obviously one game is just a one-game sample size. You know what I mean? But this was a night where it could be proven, and it wasn't. Obviously, we played a really good team, though.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we played a good team, but still, you go out and play. I mean, Morris and Randall aren't there, and you got all these people, like, I don't want to get names, but people are saying what they want to say about the guys ball hogging. That's what you do when you're a league scorer. You don't think Jordan ball hogs? You don't think Kobe ball hogs? Did anybody watch Kobe for 20 years? I did. He ball hogged all day. Like, that's what you do when you're a lead scorer. You have to set the pace because you're the only guy out there who can score. We saw tonight that without Randall or without Morris, we don't have any scoring. I mean, RJ's good, but he's a rookie. We can't put him up there. He's not a Donovan Mitchell type. He's going to take a couple of years. Frank had 16. Woo. Frank's had 16 a few times. He's never had 20. Now, if Frank went out and had 22, 23, maybe I'm the only one that notices, but does anybody notice when Frank scores more than 12 points, his assist numbers are garbage. I mean, it's like he can either not score or sit or like can't do both. I mean, it's just, and I've called in a couple times, and you gave me the riot act after I hung up, or I don't mean when trade players to get superstars. I mean, there's a lot of role players that you just never see the Knicks ever get. You never see them get a middle of the road guy. It's either young, past his prime, or they try to shoot for the moon. Like, I would have liked to see the Knicks try to get Clarkson. I said that at the beginning. I said
Who?
that Jeremy Clarkson.
Oh,
from
Jordan?
Not Jeremy Clarkson. Jordan Clarkson.
Jordan
from
Clarkson
Cleveland before he went to Utah. That would have been a nice pickup for us. We need scorers. And we don't need a star. We got Randall. We got Mook. They're gonna take. They're the guys now. What we need is a bench scorer. We need a guy who come off the bench, hit a shot. Like there's, like when we had the Knicks in 2012. What's his name? Steve. I can't think of his last name. The Caucasian guy. All he did was come off the bench, and when he got the ball wide open, he hit the shot. And nobody on our team does that. I mean, that's why we get killed. That and foul shots. We get killed because you see guys, even our three-point shooters aren't very good. It's like, I think we need to, it's a process. It's going to take time, but Golden State got rid of guy who's on Kings now, and he was a lottery pick. I mean, sometimes you're gonna have to get rid of one young player to get a good player in. I mean, can't keep them all. We have 16 draft picks in the next 5 years. We're gonna have 16 new players, and we're not gonna pull in anybody else. I mean, got to trade assets. We got to be smart. That's the way I look at it. I mean, said it all along. It's just got to be smart in what we do. But
yeah, I mean, they're going to make some moves at this deadline. People are afraid of what they're going to do. People are afraid that Scott Perry and Steve Mills are going to try to make a move to keep their jobs, which is understandable. Not understandable of Scott Perry and Steve Mills making a move to keep their job. It's understandable why people would be afraid that they're going to do that. I get that. Why people are afraid of that.
But
man.
I don't understand why you would be afraid that they're trying to make a move to their jobs.
Because the reason
like
the
Phil Jackson did, where he pulled in Derrick Rose and Noah and tried to overpay them. That's a dumb move. If they do that, yeah, we should boycott the team, don't buy tickets. But there's a lot of guys out there, and there's a lot of sorry.
But the reason why people are afraid is just what you said. They don't want them to go out and make a dumb move, right? That's going to hamstring the team for years to come. You know what I'm saying? And that's why people are afraid that they're going to do something like that, because they don't want them to go out there, hamstring the team, with a crazy contract or a player that's aging. I don't think that Scott Perry would do that. But you never know. Because the reason why I say that is, Steve Mills is one thing. Obviously, Steve Mills has the power of authority over Scott Perry. But Scott Perry, I think he's intelligent enough to recognize that he still needs to have a reputation in his league. And if he were to go out and do something dumb like that, all right, and not do something that's in the best interest of the team, and do something to try to save his job, I think that he would know that that's going to put a stain on his reputation. He'd have a hard time getting a job. Listen, Steve Mills knows when he's done with the Knicks, no other team is hiring him in the front office. He knows that. He gets it. He knows it. He's been with Madison Square Garden for the entire, he's been with James Dolan and the Knicks for the entire time that they've been trash. The entire time. So he knows there's not another front office. Well, damn, there's probably not a G League team. There's not an ABA team. There's not a TBL team. There's not, the basketball tournament. None of these teams are going to hire him as a GM. I can guarantee it. You know what I'm saying? So when he's done with the Knicks, he's probably going to retire, or whatever businesses he has outside of basketball, he's going to move on to that. Scott Perry will still have a career in the NBA. He's still going to have a career. So he's going to, I'm sure he's going to try to protect his reputation. Be the only smart thing to do. Hey, my man, I appreciate the call. I'm going to let you go because I got some other people trying to call, all right?
No problem.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, for sure. Scott Perry's going to try to protect his reputation. He should. So, he may not, everybody afraid that he's going to do this and that. I don't know if he would do that. I don't think he would. Caller, you're on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
Yo, how you doing, Sam? How's everything, man?
I'm good, brother. How you feeling?
Not bad, man.
Did I ever tell you, I think I did tell you, did I ever tell you that you and the previous caller, are you guys brothers or are you related or something?
I swear to God, it's not me. I swear on my life, bro.
I mean, are y'all related or something, though? Yeah, I mean, you sound like the same person.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? You could tell, though, no? You could tell.
I could tell.
Right?
I could tell. I can tell. I can tell that it's a different person. But you really, really sound like the same person. I don't,
It is funny, but I swear on my life, bro. It's definitely not.
I mean, I don't know if you got you're talking to me on one phone and then got the other phone, another little cell phone, like, oh, I'm going to get mine then. I'm going to say what I came to say.
Nah, it's just funny, though. You could tell, though, the difference a little bit, can't you?
Yeah, I could tell. I'm just messing with you, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, but I just want to say about this, obviously, a tough road trip. Mitch is my favorite Knick, but I got to say when, he was brutal this whole road trip, man. I mean, I get it. Tonight Gobert versus the Lakers. You got Dwight and JaVale McGee, two great defensive players, but, he's our anchor down there, man. He's got to be a lot better, man. He really let me down this whole road trip, man.
Yeah, he's been having a tough go at it. The last few games, man.
Yeah.
He's been having a tough go at it. I had somebody put something in the chat, in one of the comments to one of my videos and say, why am I always protecting the Knicks? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, for example, with Taj Gibson, you're all right with him starting. Yeah, I'm okay with Taj Gibson starting over Mitch because Mitch, to me, is just not ready yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's not ready yet. And Taj Gibson brings, Guillermo was saying, he brings a level of basketball IQ that Mitch doesn't have yet. Everyone wants to call Mitch this great defensive player. He's not that great defensive player yet. Yes, he can block shots and he makes some amazing blocks.
He's not,
and from time to time, he can play defense on guards on the perimeter. But like Guillermo was saying, you'll see Mitch Robinson lose his man going backdoor, or when they're in transition, he's not sure which man he has. He does some things, and it's okay because he's young. It's okay.
Right.
It's all right. I'm not getting on him about it. I'm just saying he's not that great defensive player yet.
At the buzzer, he lost his man there, the backdoor play. The buzzer layup in the first quarter. I was like, man, what are you doing, bro? He was lost,
he's just young and has a lot to learn.
Yeah, right.
In the beginning, at the beginning of the season,
you have faith that any of these young kids are going to be maybe not even the best players, at least even role players. Like when we hopefully turn the corner. I don't. Knox to me, I'm close. I don't want to give up on him yet, but it's just hard watching him, man. I want him to be good so bad. Like every shot he takes, I'm like, please go in, please go in. And then I just see an air ball or break. It's just like, oh, you know what I mean? Like I just want these young kids to be good so bad, but
Yeah, I know.
Mitch is still not improved. None of them has really improved. Mitch is still the same with the fouls. No other offensive game besides the dunks. Knox is still bad. You know, I mean, Frank is showing a little bit more. I like Barrett. But, you know, are you confident any of these kids are ever going to be, like, even, like, you know, good starters in this league?
I think R.J. Barrett's going to be a good starter in this league.
Yeah, me too.
Without
yeah,
a doubt.
yeah,
I think he's
too.
going to be a starter
like
in this
RJ.
league. In my mind, there's no doubt about it. Will he be an all-star?
Yeah.
We'll see. You know, will he reach that level of all-star or above? We'll see. Mitchell Robinson, I think, is going to be a starter in this league, no doubt about it. He may not be a starter right now, but I think he's going to be a starter. You know what I mean? When he gets, listen, he's got to get stronger. He's got to, you know, he's got to, players that he's going up against to have a stronger, a lower center of gravity, a stronger, lower body. You know, they can body him around and stuff like that. So he's got to build, but he's only 21 years old. So he's got to build
to me,
that
like,
strength.
The guy who played tonight, like Gobert, to me, that's the guy Mitch should be watching film of. To me, that's Mitch. You know what I mean? Like, he could be Gobert, a great defensive presence, a great guy to throw it up to. You know, like, he doesn't have a offensive game, really, Gobert. You know, he's kind of like Mitch, you know, you throw him alley-oops, he'll finish around the hoop, he'll block shots, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he could be a Gobert type of player.
So I see guys that, in my opinion, will definitely be starters. RJ and Mitch will definitely be starters in this league, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I feel like if Kevin Knox can ever get his confidence, he has the ability to be a starter in this league.
I want it to be good so bad, man. Like, I really do, but it's just, I feel like he's getting worse, man. You know what I mean? Like, just losing more and more confidence. And, you know, like the other night, he got boxed out. I forgot it was who got, but it was a guard on the Lakers. I can't think of his name right now. But come on, he's like, you got like 8 inches on him, man. Like, you know, like you got to be tough down there. You are almost 6'10", you know. He doesn't play like it, but he's pretty big, you know. Like, let me ask you one other question.
I also feel like,
how nervous are you about the report that Begley had? That we're going to make some dumb trade and trade assets for.
Hey, my man, 1 second.
It's not really worth it.
Hey, one second before I get to that. I also think Frank Ntilikina can be a starter in this league too. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know, he may not. I
think
think that he can be a starter in this league too. Here's my thing though. Just because, and I named 4 guys that I think can be starters in this league, doesn't mean that they will all be starters. I think RJ and Mitch are definites.
But
just because they're starters doesn't mean that you're gonna have a great team with them, right? They may just be role players that are starters or something like that. So we'll see. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. I'm just, you know, I get so frustrated when everybody gives up so soon. You know what I'm saying? Gives up so
try
soon.
Not to, man. I know I'm one of them, like, it's hard just watching Knox and just being hopeful like it is. Out of all of our young players, that's the one. I don't want to give up on him yet, but it's hard not to, man. I know I sound stupid. Like, I get it. You know?
But go ahead, man. Ask the question, and then I'm going to let you go. Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, I said you said you had one more question. Go ahead and ask that question, then I'm going to let you go.
Like, are you nervous with the Begley report that, you know, because Perry and Mills know basically their jobs are, like, on the line. Like, they're going to make some win-now type of move that's not going to make a difference and really help us win, but it'll just put us in more cap trouble, like, in training good either picks or our young players for, you know, not a bomb, but just a player who's good but isn't going to really help us turn that corner, man. Just hurt, you know.
I'm not as nervous, you know what I'm saying, because, like I said, you were probably on hold. But like I said, I feel like Scott Perry's. I feel like Scott Perry has a reputation in this league, and he wants to uphold that reputation. Steve Mills, when he's done with the Knicks, he's not going to be a general manager in the NBA, guaranteed. Scott Perry still has a reputation, and you know he still might be looking for jobs in this league. So I don't think he's going to do that. I don't think he's going to let that go.
Can I ask you also? Sorry, the free agency. Obviously, we know it's not a great class. I know everyone's waiting for the free agent class the following summer. So how do you approach this summer? Do you just give a bunch of guys a one-year deal again, whether it's the same players and new players, and just save every dollar for the following free agency? Like, how do you – obviously, we need a shooter. You could use a two-guard who can knock down shots. I'm not sure of the whole free agent class, but I know there's a few shooters out there, like Bogdanovich from the Kings is one of them who I would like. But or do you just save all our cap space and hope we get a Greek Freak or a Paul George, whoever it may be, in 2 years? Like, how do you approach it?
Well, hey, I'm gonna answer your question, but I'm gonna let you go and then I'm gonna answer it. All right? Appreciate the call,
I
man.
appreciate it, man.
All right, peace. I think this summer, the way that you attack this summer, there's not going to be any, high-profile free agents out there this summer. I think the smart thing to do is, if you plan on trying to build your roster, you're not going to build it through free agency, which is the reason why I think they're looking at making moves during the trade deadline. You got to be smart. You got to make moves where you're bringing back a young player that's not going to hamstring you for a very long time, unless you luck up and get a superstar. That's not happening, most likely, right? That's not going to happen. At this point, with the Knicks, with Scott Perry and Steve Mills, they tried reclamation projects. I'm staying away from reclamation projects. All right, not one reclamation project has worked for the Knicks. Noah Vonleh, no. Moutier, not with the Knicks. Mario Hezonja, no. Right? These reclamation projects have not worked. So I'm staying away from reclamation projects. Okay. I want players that other teams value. You know what I mean? If you're good at wheeling and dealing, then a team values a player, and you say, okay, I want this player, and I want them to go pick the guys that they want, not just get another person's garbage and try to reclaim it. So they're gonna have money. There's gonna be contracts that expire, like Marcus Morris, and then there's gonna be like Bobby Portis and Elfrid Payton and those guys. If they waive them before June 28th, then they don't have to pay them next year, right? They got to pay them like $1 million or something like that, right? So they'll be able to free up money if they want to. And instead of, trying to make some kind of splash in free agency, look around, see, can you absorb some contracts if that's what you're going to try to do to get first-round picks, blah, blah, blah. Now, even if you do, because what happens is once you sign a player, now you can't trade him till December the 15th, right? So I think this summer, I'm going to take a different approach. I'm not going to play around with free agency because I don't know if there's anybody in free agency that we really want. We'll see. We'll have a chance to really look at it, but I don't think there's anybody that we want. So if we free up that cap space by waiving players before June 28th, right, then you look at some other alternative ways of bringing in players, and bringing in draft picks and doing those type of things. So, that's how I would approach this summer. It's going to be non-conventional. But, of course, you're going to keep money free for the summer of 2021. And people are going to say, for what? We're not getting this player. We're not getting that player. Regardless, you got to be smart and make sure that you have the opportunity available. That's it. That's all that it is. It's not that you have to say, yeah, we're definitely going to get Giannis. Yeah, we're definitely going to get this person. That's not the point. You know what I'm saying? It's just keeping your cap clean and smart. So if an opportunity arises, you're able to capitalize. Because in the past, when opportunities have arisen, however the word is said, we have not been able to capitalize. That's the way I would approach this summer, though. Making moves that's going to keep my cap clean. Still trying to bring in young players, young talent. That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. We got to take an alternative route. Got to take an alternative route. We got to be smart. So we're going to see what happens. We got a month. We got 27 days to the trade deadline. So rumors are going to continue to pick up. Things are going to continue to happen. What I want to get to next, and maybe some of you guys seen the video that I put out earlier, where, I talked a little bit about Julius Randle, about him leaving Mark Berman put out the report that he was called back to, a private office, and then he left the private office. And when he was in the locker room, he was visibly upset and blah, blah, blah. He didn't address the media. Immediately, people began to speculate. Julius Randle is being traded. There's an issue within the team. All this craziness. You know what I'm saying? I'm just asking people, don't speculate, because you don't know what happened. Right? Someone called up World Wide West, and, big shout out to you. No disrespect. But, you were like, well, his wife was there. His kid was there. So it's no family issues. You don't know that. He could have a grandparent that, something happened to a grandparent. I'm sure he has parents that something could have happened to. You don't know. And if he's in the middle of a game, well, guess what? They're probably going to contact Scott Perry and Steve Mills. So they might call him in the office and say, hey, we got to tell you something happened. You just don't know. Now, I also seen something where someone said on Twitter that they were sitting next to the hallway where the Knicks go back to their locker room, and he seen Julius Randle yelling at Scott Perry. I don't know. That's another fan. It could be the truth. All I'm saying is let's not speculate. You know what I'm saying? Because then a lot of people will feel bad if we speculate and people are out there saying, yeah, he probably got traded, all this wild stuff, and then something comes back and it was an important family issue. Let's not speculate. Let's just wait until we find out the facts. You know what I'm saying? I, for one, hope that nothing is wrong with his family. Everyone is safe. Everyone is healthy. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah, that's about it with that. You know what I'm saying? Nate, I see you had something to say. Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, man, I had no idea that that was even possibly a speculation. I thought he did go home because of family reasons, that personal reasons. I assumed that it had something to do with his family or whatever it is, because that's kind of what happened with Dennis Smith. He left the team for personal reasons too.
Yeah, but people, some people are like, well, yeah, they're saying personal reasons, but could be this, it could be that.
But that would be interesting if it was a flare up between him and Perry, because this is a guy that they just signed in the off season, and the guy wanted to be here. So I don't know if maybe he's frustrated with the losing or what. The Pelicans weren't that great themselves, and he was on the Lakers teams, but they suck too.
I don't know. All I can say is, that person said that they were next to, the whatever it was, and
that's crazy too.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the Ian Begley report about how they're how they're gonna try to make moves, because I read something on the Bleacher where they said they weren't gonna trade Morris. Morris was off the table, and I didn't read about other players, but I know Morris.
I would recommend if you're trying to go to people for a scoop, there's certain people that I would stick with. Ian Begley is one of them.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
I would stick with Ian Begley, and then of course Adrian Wojnarowski and those guys. You know what I'm saying? Shams and stuff like that. A lot of other people just talk stuff.
Let me ask you a question, because you were talking about with a caller about making moves, that aren't gonna necessarily handicap ourselves in 2021. So I was thinking about this when I was watching the Utah game. Like, personally, in my opinion, the only players I want to bring back out of the ones that we signed in the offseason, of course, Julius Randle's going to be here. I don't see him going anywhere unless this thing does blow up. I want to bring back Morris, and I want to bring back Bullock. I don't know why. It's only been very small sample, but I like what I've seen from Bullock. I think he's a good shooter. He's plays some decent defense. I think he could be the replacement for Dotson, and I've liked Bullock since when he played for the Lakers and he played with the Clippers. The guy's a good shooter. That's what his calling card was when he came into the from the draft.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like those two players obviously at the right deal, because I feel that those two players, if you're going to build with young players, and majority of our team is young, you're going to need vets or older players. And I think those two fit perfectly within this team. We need a shooter. That's what Bullock can do. If he can get better at defense, he can be even a 3-and-D type of dude. And then Morris, of course, Morris plays good defense, and he's a shooter too. So, I mean, and they're not bad shooters. I mean, they usually are pretty. I mean, Bullock's been pretty efficient his whole career for the most part, and Morris has played out of his mind this year. But out of those two players, that's the only ones I want to bring back. Everybody else got to go. I think, seriously, I mean, because I think like we're going to get another high draft pick. We're going to get a 2nd-round draft pick. So we're going to have another 2 players to add to the team. I mean, at some point we're going to have to see what Iggy's got, So I think those 2 players, in my opinion, have the staying power. Everybody else, I just haven't seen enough for them. I don't want to bring them back, because I think those other, if we bring back some of those other people, they're going to hinder our cap more and more. But I think these 2 players, for the right deals, you bring them back for next year, and then hopefully the young players develop and get better. We get a draft pick, we get a 2nd-round draft pick. Maybe we pick up a lower tier guy or something like that, or maybe we don't. I don't know. Like you said, 2021, that's where the big free agency class is. But honestly, man, I have no hope in us getting anything big. So
and listen, the thing is this: it's not even about having a hope to get anything big, because this is what'll happen. Everyone says today, "Oh, why are we saving our money for 2021?" Da 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 da. Then as soon as we spend our money on something retarded, right? Then in 2021, when somebody was available and the Knicks didn't have money to sign them, and it comes out, a report says, yeah, this person was interested in the Knicks, but the Knicks didn't have enough money, then everyone's going to call the Knicks crazy, right?
Right.
The smart thing to do is, be smart with your money. That's a big free agent class. You say, you know what? We're going to have the opportunity. That's all.
Well, let me ask you this question, Sim. The current team we have now, do we have a franchise player or potentially a franchise player on this team?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, RJ Barrett, we hope can be that guy, but you may not know from a person's rookie season if they're going to be the franchise player.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Do you think we need a franchise? Go ahead.
Yes, I do. I think
to the next level, right?
I think you do. I mean, what team has won a championship besides the Pistons that didn't have a franchise player? Huh?
Well, they had Kawhi. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't drafted there, but he was a franchise type player. You know what I'm saying? I do believe you've got to have a franchise player.
Yeah,
it's very hard.
You gotta have the dude on your team, and then everybody else kind of falls into place.
Mm-hmm. It's very hard. The NBA is a players' league. You know what I'm saying? You got to have players. Bottom line, you got to have players. You can have all the coaching in the world, but you got to have players that can execute.
Did you read anything into Davis not signing that extension, or do you think he's just gonna get the bigger deal at the end of the season?
Davis is staying in LA.
I think
bigger
so too,
deal at the end of the season.
But remember,
he's staying
Knicks
in
were
LA,
second
bro.
choice.
He's staying in LA. He is not coming to the Knicks. If I'm Anthony Davis, if Anthony Davis comes to the Knicks, I can guarantee you somebody's going to say, here's my card and I am a therapist. I can guarantee you that. Okay? He is not coming to the Knicks. And if he does need to be checked out. Right? He needs to go get
he might
drug
like to
test.
Make up better
he
on
needs
this team than that team.
Listen,
remember, LeBron is already 35, man. So once
it don't
LeBron
matter.
leaves,
it don't matter. Anthony Davis is in LA. They are winning. You still got LeBron for a couple of years, right? If he leaves and comes to the Knicks, he's going to be drug tested. They're going to send him to therapy. He might get locked up in chains and sent and they send electrical volts through his body to see if he's in his right mind. That would be crazy for him to do that.
Hey,
Crazy.
man, people thought it was crazy for, I mean, for KD to go to the Warriors. Who knows?
Yeah, but he was going to a good team.
Well,
You're talking about going from the Lakers are not functional, right?
Yeah.
They're not functional like a team like the Warriors, right? They're dysfunctional, but they're like the Lakers are like a functional alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? A functional alcoholic is able to go out and drink and, get drunk and this and that, but are able to function so that they can provide for their family and do all that kind of stuff, right? So that's what the Lakers are like. The Knicks are the dysfunctional alcoholic. All right? The Knicks are the dysfunctional alcoholic that can never get right. That's what the Knicks are like.
So how do you
saying?
justify KD going from the Warriors to the Nets?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. That I mean, to me, that's kind of like when Melo left the Nuggets to go to the Knicks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like that, I think. You know what I mean? It was kind of like that. Oh no, man!
You never know, man. I mean, honestly, none of us know what the hell's gonna happen. We don't even know who's gonna be on this roster past the trade deadline. So it's all this uncertainty in the clouds.
Yeah, it's gonna be something, man. The Knicks are in it's a weird situation right now with the Knicks. It really is. It's a crazy, weird situation. I don't know.
Let me ask you a real quick conspiracy theory that I was thinking in my head when you guys were talking. Do you think, I'm just throwing this out there, I'm not sure. Do you think that Fizdale's firing was more Dolan than Scott Perry and Mills?
I don't know. It's a good question. Good question. I don't know.
Because I was thinking about that because, Fizdale was Scott Perry and Mills's guy. That's who they wanted. They made that very clear that that was their guy. And I think that Dolan was the one that set that press conference 10 games into the season, and then he told them to fire him.
Yeah.
And that's why I think they're probably watching Mike Miller like a hawk, kind of, or they don't give him the power because they really wanted that. Fizdale was their guy, and maybe they're a little sore about the situation and they're not giving him the most welcoming, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. That's a good question. One to think about. But anyway, the Knicks play the New Orleans Pelicans on Friday. The game time is now 7:15. It's been changed. What was it? 8:30, 8 o'clock or 8:30 or something? It's now 7:15.
It's gonna be on TV too. One TV game.
Can we? What's gonna happen, man? Can we hope? We don't know who's gonna be back. We don't. Marcus Morris is still having neck soreness, right? So we don't know if he's gonna be back. We don't know what's going on with Julius Randle. So we don't know if Julius Randle is going to be back. We could be playing with the same kind of lineup. If we play with the lineup that we had tonight, I do not see us getting a win.
No. I tell you what, man, the Pelicans. I've watched the Pelicans play, man, and they play very hard and they're very competitive. I mean, Ingram is having a career year. They got Favors. They've got that Jackson Hayes guy who is going to be a good player going forward. They've got Ball. I mean, they play well as a team. Now, defensively, they're not that good. So, I mean, it's going to come down if we can score. I mean, I don't think defensive. It's going to be a defensive game either way. I think it's going to come down if we can score.
Okay, the Pelicans right now. The Pelicans are 13-25. They won tonight. They beat the Bulls tonight. They beat the Bulls 123-108. They're averaging 113.1 points per game. They give up 116.7 points per game. They average 25 assists, so they are a team that can get the ball around, move the ball. They play fast. Clearly, this would be a different team if Zion Williamson was there, right? But Zion's not there.
He's on his way back. he's not going to play up on Friday, but he's on his way back. So
I mean,
it'll be interesting to see how
right.
that team looks.
I mean, looking at this team, if Zion was there, they may be in a playoff hunt in the Western Conference.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Right, they're 13-25 right now in the Western Conference. The San Antonio Spurs are 16-20, and they're in the 8th seed in the Western Conference.
They're not that far back.
Right? No, they're not that far back. And if they had Zion, they could very well be in that 8th spot in the Western Conference. The Pelicans could be if they had Zion there. So, you know, this is a team that if Zion comes back, could maybe even make a push towards the playoffs, depending on where they are in the standings. If Zion comes back, now when Zion comes back, he's gonna have to get it. You know, he's got to be in shape. He's got to get in game shape and all that kind of stuff. Reacclimated to the team because he didn't play a game yet, so he's got to get reacclimated to the team and all of that, or acclimated to the team.
And I think that's what they're thinking is that, you know, let's get to the All-Star break and be right around, you know, 6 to 7 games under 500. Get Zion back, get him acclimated, and then like a run at the playoffs going forward.
Because right now the Pelicans are 4 games out, and you know, even though, you know, and people can look at it and say, well, when we say the Knicks are 5 games out, everybody laughs. Well, the thing is that the Pelicans have somebody coming in that can be a game changer. You know what I mean? You know, so if they can stay within that 3 to 4 games out of that 8th seed, and then Zion comes back, he might be able to change the game and help them put a few more wins on the board that possibly push him into that 8th spot or getting close to that 8th spot. We'll see how that goes. Right now, the Knicks. Who was it? We were doing Knicks Weekly, and somebody, you know, said something about the Knicks trying to make a push towards that 8th spot. Come on, let's be realistic, man. The Knicks are 7 games out of the 8th spot. They're 10-28.
We were 5 at one point, but
yeah, at one point, 4 games ago. 4 games ago, when we weren't on a 4-game losing streak. Now we're on a 4-game losing streak. And right now, the Nets are in that 8th spot at 16-20. The Nets are on a 7-game losing streak, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! They're on a 7-game losing streak. And we'll see how far that goes. We'll see how far that goes. And I know there's a lot of chatter everywhere, you know what I'm saying, that, that the Nets, you know, nobody's recognizing that the Nets is some bum juice. That's what people like to say in the YouTube chat, that the Nets is some bum juice. You know what I'm saying? Well, man, 7-game losing streak, man. And it, you know, they were supposed to be a decent team. Obviously, Kyrie's not playing, but
well, you got to think about it, man. Outside of Kyrie, man, we're probably more talented they are.
Maybe. I don't know.
So.
I don't know.
I mean, who outside of Kyrie is that talented, other than maybe Dimwit?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we beat them the last time. We'll see if we beat them on the 26th.
Exactly. That's my point.
As a matter of fact, just to remind everybody, tomorrow, tickets for the Knicks and Nets game on the 26th will be available. All right, I'm going to put it in the community chat. There'll be a link there in the chat where you'll be able to get you some tickets. Right now, the tickets that are available are in section 214, row 4. So they're nice tickets, and they're not terribly expensive. All right, so if you want to come to the game tomorrow, 12 noon, those tickets will be available, and they'll be available to the 15th, so you got to get them. All right, they'll be available to the 15th. At the 15th, we're going to shut them down. All right, so, pay attention to it. I'm going to put it out there tomorrow. Let me get to another phone call. Caller, you're on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
Hey, thanks for taking my call tonight.
No problem, my man. What's going on with you?
I was calling. We spoke a couple of nights ago, and I'm still on it, man. Knox again tonight. I mean, I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. He doesn't, and of course, it could just be who the kid is, but there's no motor, there's no engine. You know, you hear the trainer saying he's taking 500 shots, he's working on New Year's Eve and balling, whatever. But this young man, I mean, I just don't. And again, it's tough with effort because some guys make it look effortless. I understand that. But this kid, he's getting to the point where he's unwatchable. And, I know we've talked about it several times. I know he's only 19 years old, but he did not come to the league NBA ready. And
He did not.
We just can't afford as Knicks. We can't afford to have guys who aren't NBA ready, at least. Like, you look at RJ. RJ's game is nowhere near where it's going to be, but he's NBA ready. You can tell physically, mentally, he's ready for this, and that really concerns me. And then the other point I wanted to raise with you tonight is, what do we do? You and I have talked the last few weeks, and you've talked about, and I think you're right on the money, that as players become younger and younger, it becomes more difficult to scout them because you don't know what an 18-year-old's going to be at 23, 24. They're not, polished players, especially the American kids who just, they play AU ball, they play 1 year in college, then they're lottery picks. And, I know we don't want to make a trade and not, but I don't know how we're going to acquire talent because there's no guarantee that who we select is going to be a player who can really stick around and play. And I'm not even talking about like a franchise guy. I'm talking about a legitimate playoff, top 5 team in your conference starter. And, I don't know if you have to make a move at some point. I'm not saying it's now, perhaps in the summertime, maybe in the fall. But at some point, we're going to have to make trades because, we're not bringing anybody here. Look, Fizdale was supposed to be, the Pied Piper, and everybody was going to come play for Fizdale, right? We had all the cap space. We couldn't do it. So if we're not going to attract free agents, and trying to play through the draft is getting more and more speculative, I think that you have to trust Perry. And I know we have no reason to believe in Mills. I understand that, but someone's going to have to make a trade, and we're going to have to get lucky at some point. I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, I agree. At some point, you're going to have to make some moves somewhere down the line for something. But the thing is this: you can't just be trash and then go make a move for somebody, right? And then say we're gonna build around them. I feel like you gotta have, because if you're just trash, right, winning 15 games a season, then you make a move for a player. When that player, most of the time when you make a move for the player, they got 1 year left on their contract, right? And the other team knows that person's not coming back, so they're moving them or something like that. Or they're just disgruntled. But if they got like 1 year left, or they're in an expiring contract and the team knows they're not coming back, that's when guys are ready to get moved, right? And if you make that trade and then they come to you and they're like, yo, this organization is just terrible, then they're gone. Now you gave up assets for nothing. So we have to, we say it all the time, and it's like beating a dead horse because obviously it never happens, but we got to have some kind of stability with the front office, not just stability, but competency from the front office, right? And have a good, stable organization so that when players come, they feel that stability and they feel like it's a good organization, right? And then you start building and you got something going on with your basketball team, some consistency, some stability, culture growing, and all that kind of stuff. And then if you sign a free agent or if you trade for a player, then they feel comfortable staying there. So, we got to find it has to start there. It has to start there because it's the reason why, like some of these young players, like, Moutier found a nice sweet spot at Utah and I'm hoping that he can excel there. Moutier is only 24 years old. He's 23 now. He's going to be 24 years old. People killed him like he was 28 years old, a 28-year-old vet that wasn't good. He was a 22-year-old kid with us, or 23 years old. You know what I'm saying? People killed him.
But he was a role player. That's what he is.
Right.
So
I mean, but what I'm saying is, you know, he can go into
and he can get some light there, and he can look decent when you give him 16 minutes a night. But you know, he's playing with Donovan Mitchell. He's playing with guys who can really ball. But
right.
The problem
but the thing is, he's in a program. He's in a program. He's in a position in an organization where he's going to be able to grow. So maybe when he's 27 years old, you know, he can reach his pinnacle and be a starter and you know, a starter for a few years and really contribute whatever it is, right? Everybody wants every single young player to be a starter right from the tip and not have them go through their journey of development, which is always going to be up and down, up and down. Fans don't want to see that up and down, up and down. You know what I mean? And then in order to support a player, you got to have the systems in place in your organization to support that player so that you can support him through the up and down and the sideways turns and all that kind of stuff. You got to be able to support him through it. And we don't have it. So, you know, we got to start at that level. So we don't have all this dysfunction, because players can't grow in dysfunction. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
I don't disagree with you, but I just again, building through the draft, and again, we talked about this the other night. When these guys are so young, it's not like I don't know what Knox is, and you know, and I'm just using Knox as an example. You know, Carol Parry said, "Oh, he's the greatest thing to sliced bread." He's not ready. We already invested in him, so I'm with you. You have to develop him. You don't have an option. You took a lottery pick to take the kid. You got to roll with him. Frank's a lottery pick. You know, Frank's going to be maybe, I know he's only 21, 22. Frank's going to maybe be, you know, a borderline starter at some point. I mean, you can just tell. And I'm just saying, when you're taking lottery picks, and I know you're guessing an 18-year-old, you probably have a better chance of guessing who's going to be good. You have a better chance hitting the lottery through a scratch-off, probably, especially when you're taking these kids so young. But, you know, I'm not sure what the answer is. But the more I watch these Knicks, the more I'm just saying to myself, man, again, you know, somebody could say, well, you know what, man, we got lucky with Mitch, though. I guess that takes some of the bad off of that draft class. But I just sit here saying to myself, do I want to be patient? Yes. Hell, I've been patient for 20 years. You know, I mean, other than those couple of Woodson years, it's been tough. And I want to be patient. I want them to build with young players, but you know that also requires having scouts and eyes for talent. Because here's my thing to you, Sip. Let me ask you this question. Mm-hmm. Was looking at Kevin Knox, do you think in 2018 he's one of the best 9 amateurs in the world? Is that what he was?
In 2018?
Yeah, when he was drafted. Do you think he was one of the best, because he was taken 9th or whatever, is he one of the best 10 amateurs in the world at that point? And
probably not. Probably not. They drafted on
and
potential.
That's my point. Like, you know, and I know other teams make mistakes. I get it. You know, I'm not saying that everybody, but it's just when I look at the kid, I say to myself, you had an opportunity, again, to take one of the top 10 amateur players who, you know, okay, not including freshmen and college, you know, not including high school kids at the time. You had a chance to take one of the best 10 players in the world, and you got Kevin Knox.
Who are you talking about?
The Knicks.
Michael Porter Jr.?
The Knicks are selecting, right? They have the whole world they can draft from.
Right, but you talk about Michael Porter Jr.
I'm talking about taking Knox in 2018.
I know, but you're saying they had a chance to select one of the top players in the world. Who are you saying that they should have selected?
Well, I don't know. But it shouldn't have been Knox. Like, look, I'm not a GM. I'm not an international scout. I'm not any of those things. But I can tell you now that kid ain't one of the best players in the world. And I guess that's why I say that. You know,
at that time, I think they knew this. Even at that time, right? His coach said, you're going to have to give this guy some years before you see what he can do. He said some of these other guys might come in and be better than him the first few years of his career, but in the long run, he'll be better. I mean, they knew what they were getting into when they got him. They knew that he was a baby. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and you can see everything. I mean, you can look at him, the way he moves. Someone just in the YouTube chat said, you know, he still has the, you know, the mouth guard in his mouth, you know, using it like a pacifier. Like, he is a baby still. You know what I'm saying? And you need him to, you know, he's gonna have to grow and mature as a young man. Yeah, and we knew that getting into it. And I think that's what they drafted him on.
But then maybe we need to, if that's the case, you know, if that's the case and we took him knowing he was going to be a long-term project, are we developing him for somebody else because our team is so poor? Are we developing a kid who, you know, when he reaches the end of his rookie deal is going to move on right when he's developing? Well, I just wonder if we should be getting maybe a kid with less upside at 19 years old who's NBA ready, so the team can get on a more solid foundation. Because listen, you can't be one of the bottom 6 teams in the league, have a lottery pick sitting on the bench. Can't happen.
So who would you have drafted at that?
You know?
Who would you have drafted? Who would you have drafted? Who would you have drafted that would have satisfied you in that draft?
Yeah, that's such a good question because I at the time he was selected, I was excited about him.
Me too.
So it's tough for me to say there's someone else I would have taken at the time. You know, I just remember watching those Kentucky highlights. I don't follow the SEC that closely, but you know, I saw him, you know, probably played 3 or 4 games all season, and I thought we were getting. I mean, obviously he was physically gifted. I thought we were getting a kid who was going to be a slasher, who could get to the rim, who also had just a beautiful jump shot and could create his own shot and also catch and shoot. Like, I thought he was offensively going to be a very complete player, and he may very well become that. But this isn't what I expected. So I can't answer your question. I think it's an excellent question.
Right,
it's a fair question. Because at the time I was happy with it. But again, it just seems, I don't know. He says all the right things.
But listen, one of the things in development, right? One of the things about development, and I'm not just talking about development of a basketball player, just the development of a person, right? One of the things about development is you've got to expect the unexpected. You know what I'm saying? Because that's part of developing. Right. That's part of developing. Listen, he has a lot of work to do, and it's going to start with his mentality first. You know what I'm saying? That's where it's going to start first. Someone just asked me, do I think he's going to be better than any of the players that were taken above him? I don't know. I don't know where the players taken above him are going to fall either. You know what I'm saying? You never know. I mean, honestly, with most draft classes, you have the rare players that come out and you know right off top, boom, they got it, right? Obviously, Luka, Donovan Mitchell tonight. You seen it as soon as he stepped foot in the NBA. Okay. You know, you have your rare players that do that. Other players go through their development time.
You know, Bagley has been good. Sexton's been good. Those guys all went before him, you know. But I'm just saying, like, you know, was there that big a drop off? You know, when Bridges was available.
But I mean, the thing is, too.
I thought we were going to take Bridges, but then only because I watched Michigan. I watched the Big Ten more, so I like that kid. But again, I can't knock them taking him based on what I know. But again, right. I'm not a professional.
Yeah, and of course we can't say is he going to be better than the people taken before him because the Knicks didn't have those draft picks before him.
Right, no, I understand that.
Right, you got to ask. I'm talking about the guy in the chat. You got to ask, is he going to be better than the people taken after him? Right, because the people that were before him, the Knicks didn't have that draft pick. They didn't have the opportunity to draft those kids. Right, so the people that were taken before him, there's nothing the Knicks could do about it. Now, the people taken after him, yeah, the Knicks could have did something about that. I don't know, but hey, I'm gonna let you go, man, because I'm about to get out of here.
If I remember, wasn't Porter hurt when they I think that's what knocked him down.
A lot of issues about his back problems. Yeah, a lot of issues about his back problems. Yeah.
Right, and like I said, maybe there was a drop off after the top 7 or 8 picks. I don't know, and I don't know what was on their board, but again. I just feel like, Sim, we can't miss, you know, and that's
I feel you.
when they're talking about this year making a trade. So let's say we get another first rounder, or we get a high second rounder, you know, for one of these guys. You know, who are we going to take? Are the fans going to be like, you know, I'm a big Cassius Winston fan. I'm a kind of guy who thinks that kid, you know, when he comes into the league next year, he's not the most physically gifted. He's not, but he's going to be a 4-year player who played for Izzo. If you get a kid like him in the second round, I think that's the kind of kid I'd love to see play here. But I don't know. What do I know? I'm just, you know, I'm a 50-year-old man who's been watching Knicks for the last 45 years. I'm not a professional.
Hey, but you know what?
Maybe
Guess
he's
what?
not an NBA player.
Yeah, but guess what? Scott Perry and Steve Mills, they probably know just as much as you and I, to be honest with you. Because just like
I don't want to speak for you, but if he knows as much as me, then they shouldn't be running the nickel box.
But listen, but just like stocks, right? You got all these people that are, you know, these big stock analysts and all this kind of stuff. And really, when it comes down to it, none of that stuff means anything, because you can buy a stock that you never thought was going to do anything and it booms. You can buy a stock that you thought was going to do something and it drops, you know, because the company did something crazy or whatever it is. You don't know. You can use all the analytics. You can watch players play. The one thing that you can't see when you're watching these players work out, you know, you go to games and you're scouting them and you're doing all that. There's two things you can't see. You can try to determine it all you want. You don't know what's upstairs in the head, and you don't know what's inside in the heart. Even though you might see in college games, you know, they showed all this grit and they showed all this heart, and you had them in a workout and they showed grit and they showed heart and they seemed to be strong mentally. But once they step foot in the NBA, the game changes. You got 30 to 35, 36, 37-year-old men banging you around. Right, you got this whole life around you, you know what I'm saying, that changes. And then you're growing up as a young man. So you don't know, when you're drafting, you really don't know what it is that you're getting fully. You know some stuff, but you don't know everything. Because you can see the physical stuff, but you don't know what's upstairs. You don't know what's in the heart. And it's really nothing you can do about it. That's why, you know, it's all a chance. You don't know nothing you can do about it.
No, you're right. It's like I said, I just get, like, when I listen to your show this evening, and then, you know, back-to-back nights up till 1 a.m, you know, with Knicks games, it just, you know, I'm sitting here and I'm just scratching my head saying, I don't even know. You know, I was listening to Alan Hahn on his radio show talking about, you know, potential trades and all this stuff, and I just, my head gets turned each way because I don't know the right way to go, because I just feel like I don't trust this front office in the draft. I don't trust them making a trade. I don't trust their talent evaluations. And it's just like, and again, because now it's getting younger and younger, you're taking these kids. I mean, the fact, and again, I'm not knocking Knox, but if indeed they took him knowing he was a project for this team, you know, I just don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's, again, I don't know. You know, I'm from a different generation or whatever, but I just don't understand how you could take a lottery pick who's not NBA ready. I understand it intellectually because you've explained they're very young, but in my heart, I don't understand how a top 10 player in his second year is playing 10 minutes a night.
Yeah. Maybe, but hey, I got to get out of here, all right? I appreciate the call. Good conversation, man. And, you know, but listen, we got to get used to it, ladies and gentlemen, because players are going to be coming into the league younger and younger and younger. Devontae Wilson, you said, do you believe that in every draft you have that one bust player? You know, I believe this. It's a good question. I don't know if you have that one bust player. I think a lot of that is determined on where they go and who they land with, honestly. I really do. I really do feel that way. It determines on where they go. You know what I'm saying? Because Kevin Knox could have been drafted. Let's just say he was drafted to a team that didn't need him to produce for 3 or 4 years. And they were able to you know, just work with him and you know, build his skill set, build his confidence and those type of things without any expectations on him without any expectations on him. You know, he could grow to be something different than he might grow to be now. You know what I mean? So it's very, very hard to say. It's very, very hard to say There's always busts. In every draft, there's going to be busts. Guys that have expectations that don't live up to those expectations. That being said, I don't think you can tell if a player is a bust in the first 2 years of their career. I think, you've got to give it 5-6 years if you know if that player is a bust or not, because, let's cap it at 5. Right? 3 years, you expect the player to start producing. At least 3 years, you expect them, okay, you got to start giving us something. Do they reach their potential in 3 years? No, they don't reach their potential in 3 years. 5 years, maybe they reach their potential, right? The players coming into the league now, 5 years, they're still 23 years old or 24 years old, right? When is a player at their pinnacle? When is a player at their peak? 28? That's about their peak, probably. So if a player comes into the league and they're in the league for 5 years and they're still only 24, then they still got 4 years to go before they ever reach their peak. Then once you reach your peak, you level off for about 3 or 4 years, right? And then you start to gradually decline. Something like that. So if a player is coming in so young, got to give them a few years to figure out if they're a bust or not. That's the way I see it. But hey, I'm gonna be out of here. We knew Kwame Brown was quick. Well, Slick Nick, you probably right about that. We knew Kwame Brown right off the bat, right? But okay, but check it out. We did, but Kwame Brown actually carved out a decent NBA career. He didn't live up to the expectations that everybody thought he was going to live up to. But he carved out a decent NBA career. All right? He wasn't number 1 pick of the draft. He didn't have that kind of career, right? But he carved out a decent NBA career, right? Kwame Brown, let's see what Kwame Brown's stats were. I'm getting on my man Kwame Brown. Come on, man. Why y'all doing that to him? Why y'all doing that? Kwame Brown played for how long in the NBA? Kwame Brown he had a 10-year career, 12-year career in the NBA. That's not too bad. Now, he had one season where he averaged 10 points and 7 rebounds. Okay. I mean, he had a less than average NBA career. So let me say that. Less than average NBA career. Now, I mean, he was a bust for being the number 1 pick. That he was. No doubt about it. He was a bust for being the number 1 pick. Can't even say he wasn't. All right. But this is the thing. While he was a bust for being the number 1 pick, when he got to his 3rd year, people probably thought he had potential. People probably thought, okay, maybe he's on to something. He was averaging 10.9 points per game, 7.4 rebounds per game, just under a block per game. He should have been averaging more than that. Right? He was shooting 50% from the field or 49% from the field. So you probably thought in his 3rd year that he was going to be on to something. Didn't materialize. I mean, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? But he played in the NBA for 12 years. He wasn't what everybody thought he was gonna be, but he played in the NBA for 12 years. At least got to give him that. I'm trying to diss my man Kwame Brown, man. Anyway, I'm gonna get to Nate, because I'm about to get up out of here. Let Nate send us off. Hold up, Nate. Let me get you unmuted. Okay. Go ahead, man.
I didn't know Kwame Brown was your guy.
Now, he ain't my guy like that. I'm just saying, just using it, just saying my dude, but he wasn't my guy like that.
Yeah, man, it's hard. It's hard as a GM, figure out who's going to be a star, who's going to be an all-star, who's going to be a role player, who could possibly be a bust. I will say this about Knox. Knox came in very talented. Like, his ceiling was very high, but they did say that the guy lacks a motor and is gonna take a while to develop. So, however you want to read into that. it's hard because you expect him to be better than he is now. Seems like he has regressed, but you know, still only 20 years old, so got to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's still learning. Um, real quick, I was reading that report by Begley, and he also said that the Perry and Mills were distraught along with Randall. That makes me kind of think that it probably was something family.
Oh, where'd you read that? What was that?
So I googled that report for Begley about Randall, situation with Randall,
Uh-huh.
and they said that Randall was distraught after he left that office, but so was Perry and Mills.
Hmm.
He said Perry and Mills looked distraught too. So my thought would probably was something with, because I don't, unless they fired Mills and Perry the same day, then they gonna trade Randall. I don't know, man, but I'm probably thinking it's probably something.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
if they looked upset or something like that, they probably were consoling him.
Right. Wow.
So
okay. Well, Nate, I'm gonna get up out of here, man.
Yeah,
I do
man.
want to give a big shout out to BJ Boogie. Thank you for the super chat. You said, how do you feel about Jeremiah Grant as a free agent? I like Jeremiah Grant. He's young, he's athletic. He plays defense. He comes from, he understands how to play, how to play basketball and playing systems and stuff like that. Good role player. Now, I do feel like Kenny Wooten could be Jeremiah Grant too.
anyone could be Jeremiah Grant or Nerlens Noel, man.
Yeah, I feel like, he could maybe be Jeremiah Grant. Kenny Wooten could. So, but he's not a bad guy, a bad role player type of guy to pick up, I think. But anyway, man, I'm about to get up out of here, Nate. Appreciate you guys for being on with me, ladies and gentlemen. Be on the lookout, please. Tomorrow, those tickets will be coming out, or the link for the tickets will be coming out so that you can purchase tickets to the Knicks and Nets game on January 26th. The tickets are like $98 a piece. Row 214, section 214, row 4. And, before the game, we'll get a chance to go down courtside and watch them warm up. And then after the game, we'll go take a picture on the Garden Court. So it'll be a lot of fun. All right, and then after we take a picture on the Garden Court, we'll just hang out a little bit. So be on the lookout. It'll be in the community chat where you can get that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm out. All right. Please get to work tomorrow safe, on time. Don't get fired. I know you're probably tired. It's 1:30 in the morning. Or if you're at work right now, get your job done, because I don't need you getting fired. All right? I appreciate you guys, man. Have a good one. Peace.